All right, guys. Dreadnought's back today with a new review, and we're going to be looking at Star Wars The Black Series, Han Solo from The Force Awakens. Looking very cool here in the package. Not much going on accessory-wise. That same artwork we've seen at the bottom, looking pretty cool there. Nothing much going on the side over here. On this side, we can see he is number 18 from the wave. And then a look at the back of the box reveals a short bio that reads, "The exploits of Han Solo are legendary. He's been a famed smuggler, captain of the Millennium Falcon, and a hero of the Rebel Alliance. As the galaxy teeters towards war, Solo once again finds himself in the center of the action." All right, so let's crack this bad boy open and get a look at it. And here's Han Solo out of the package. Looking pretty cool overall. I think Hasbro did a nice job for the most part. There are a few issues I have with the figure, and I'll get to those here in a moment. But one thing I did want to say up front, if you haven't seen Star Wars The Force Awakens, definitely tune away from the review because I don't think I can discuss this figure without at least bringing up a major spoiler about the movie. So I do want to warn you, just tune away if you haven't seen it because I can't promise I won't mention it here in this review. So let's take a closer look at this figure. And taking a real quick look at the one accessory he comes with, he's got the blaster pistol here, and you can see it is pretty nicely sculpted overall. Definitely the look from the movie, the darker end to the pistol. They never really said, I don't think, in the movie if this was supposed to be his original blaster, just aged. But it does have some silver dry brushing on it, brown on the handle, and like a gold insignia on both sides. I don't remember that from the original trilogy, so maybe it's supposed to be a new gun. Here's the 6-inch scale that came with the Black Series original Han Solo. And you can see it's much bigger than this one. You know, it's more sturdy too. This one's really flimsy. I actually had to use some heat to straighten this barrel when it came out of the package. This one doesn't bend as easy, and I actually probably will use this one to pose with him just because I like the size of it in scale with Han, and I just think it looks better. But this one fits into his hand just fine. No real issues getting it in his hand like so. And taking a closer look at Han Solo here, I think Hasbro did an awesome job with this head sculpt. It just came out tremendously nice. Dead on for Harrison Ford, especially the look, the face he had in the movie. I just think they nailed it, and it's probably the closest likeness to an actor I've seen from a Hasbro figure in quite some time, in my opinion. The hair gets a little bit off for me so far as the shape of it. You know, it is very nicely sculpted, you know, all the lines and details sculpted in there, but it seems a little too snug to the head. You know, he kind of had that waving around the ears hair, you know, that scoundrel, you know, messy hair look going on a lot in the movie. And, you know, it just looks a little too kept up here from what I remember in the movie. Now, a lot of people have a problem with the hair color. You know, during the movie, it was gray for the most part, or from what you could tell, it was completely gray. On the figure, they gave it like a tan, and then they brushed over it with gray on top of that, so it just looks like some graying, you know, sandy blonde hair or something. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But there is some definite gray dry brushing or something over the hair. I will say this for those that really have an issue with this. During the promotional photos or promotional posters, like the one where he's posed with the gun in front of his face, he actually does not have gray hair in those promotional photos. So if they worked on this figure from those, I can see them coming out with this hair color instead of what we got in the movie. You know, the other thing is the look of the character. You know, it really doesn't have any bearing on this review, but I do want to mention it since I'm talking about it anyway. Y'all probably hang me in the comments, but I didn't like the look of Han Solo in the movie. I really thought it added to his age more than took away from it and made him look even older than I think he actually should look. I didn't like the loose collar. I know that's what he had in the, you know, in the first Star Wars movie. The collar hung out. It was the 70s, you know, that was the style. But I didn't like it on the character in the new movie. I actually loved the mock-up art they did of how Han Solo was going to look that we got to see before the movie released. I thought it looked really, really good. He kind of had a scarf up in here, and the shirt collar kind of stood up. It was more of a trim look to him, you know, more streamlined. Kind of reminded me of, you know, the natural progression of what the character would have taken on, and I thought it gave him a more youthful appearance as well. You know, he just looks kind of saggy and baggy in the movie to me, and the figure actually represents that pretty well. And I'm not sure I wanted it to. But looking down through the rest of the figure, I like the jacket. I like the color they use. Very nicely sculpted. Has some texture sculpted in there that gives it that leather look. You know, it's got the ammo pouches or whatever that is up there. Some very nice wash or dry brushing going on the sides to give it an aged look, and around the pockets there. Same thing on the back, just really, really nice. I love that texture they used. And then I love that dry brushing or wash they used to give it that look. It's not so much on the front as it is on the arms and the back. So it kind of gives at first glance the look that he's got a vest on. And, you know, I think they've improved it from the first ones that actually hit. But it still is a little off-putting when you first look at him to see this be so dark and then these to be so washed. You know, it just kind of takes away from it a little bit. And then looking inside, the shirt's nicely sculpted and a lot of nice wrinkles in here, you know, sculpted in. And then looking down through here at the belt, you know, also pretty nice. Not sure if the belt looked like that in the movie. It almost looks like paint rub on the silver there to me. And then I love the holster, and the gun belt just looks really, really nice, nicely sculpted. Has some wash as well to it to give it some age. And I love the silver paint they used on the front there, and then again on the back, and then with all the rivets and everything, which looks really, really nice. The gun fits in it as well. No real issues getting the gun in. Fits like so, and actually makes the gun look a little bit bigger than it really is. And then looking down through the pants, I like the shade of color they used. But again, this kind of goes to the look of the character in the movie. Maybe I kind of wish that they had hit it in the action figure, but his pants look like old man baggy pants, and he looks like he's got a diaper the way they made his crotch. You know, I think Harrison Ford doesn't look this old, you know, in real life, but it really aged him even more so to me in the character that he had this look. Looking at the back here, same thing, just really saggy pants, you know, no definition in here. And I'm not saying, hey, Han Solo needs a butt, but I mean, that looks pretty crappy. I mean, this, you know, it makes him really aged to me, far beyond what he really is. And I know he's an old guy, but I just have a real problem with this. It just didn't look good. I think the costume person that gave Han this look should have, you know, done something with this to make him look a little bit better. You know, and then seeing it translated here in action figure form, you know, it's just really tough for me to take, I guess. Maybe it's the fact that I'm an older guy and my childhood heroes are getting old. But anyway, looking down at the boots, I like the texture they came out with. The color is very nice overall. I like all these sculpted wrinkles in there. And I just love that two-tone. It's like a brown with a wash, but it's actually shiny on the boot as well. Just came out really nice. The one issue I have with it is if you look up here, the boot should cut off right here. And they use the wash on the whole bottom leg piece, and it's on the insides as well. So looking at the boots when you're posing him, it actually looks like he has cowboy boots up because they flare up on the sides. Looks that way from the front as well. It looks like he's got two flare-ups where you pull the cowboy boot on. So not only does he have really saggy pants, but he has cowboy boots on with it, which really just bothered me as well. And maybe I'm just being hugely nitpicky, but in my opinion, it just takes away from the figure. You know, in the original art, they had him with more of a black boot, which I think would have looked really good on the character in the movie. But since they went with this, it would have been nice if Hasbro had gotten the paint right here and not painted this upper part where it actually, this should be the same color as the brown pants up here. So, yeah, and some peg holes down there at the bottom of the feet. So let's get a closer look at articulation and moving our Han Solo around. You can't really move the head back that much. It's hindered back here by the jacket, but he does have that shifting motion on the head that you can shift it forward and backwards. Like so. And if you shift it forward, he can move his head all the way down in between his shirt there, which looks a little bit weird. It does rotate around nice and easy, and he actually has some pivot as well in there. The arms move out a good amount. They do rotate all the way around. Has that single jointed elbow that does swivel, swivels at the wrist as well, and he has the hinge that moves down like so, up like so. And I believe, yes, on this one it does have the same kind of hinge, not the roll of the dice. So up and down on both of those. No waist rotation, but he does have that mid-abdomen rotation, and then the crunch on it as well, which allows him to crunch about that far back and about that far forward, so not a whole lot there. And he does pivot on that range of movement joint as well. Upper leg rotation, and the hips move out a decent amount and get him out about that far. It's hindered by this holster over here. He can kick forward. Okay, let's kick him forward on this side since that holster's, yeah, he can get really out there that way. Can't really move back because his butt is blocking it, but it will rotate out to the side and get back like so. Double jointed knees, move up like so. And then looking at the bottom of the foot, it does have that hinge on it. It will hinge all the way down like so. Hinge up just a little bit, and he does have that nice ankle rocker. And here's our two Han Solos side by side with old versus new, or old versus new depending on how you look at it. And you can see here our Force Awakens Han is a little bit shorter than this one over here on this side, and he's measuring in just shy of 6 inches tall. But I have to say they definitely captured the likeness of the actor more on this one than with our original trilogy series. And here's Han next to his old pal Chewbacca, and I gotta say, looking at them side by side here, I think Chewbacca's a little bit too tall or Han's too short. If I remember correctly, usually the top of Han's head comes about shoulder height to Chewbacca, and you can see this is coming in much shorter than Chewbacca's shoulders here. So I'm not sure if they got the scale right on it, but it is looking cool with these two guys together again. Next, here's our Han Solo next to Rey and Finn. And here's our Han Solo in the scene that I wish had played out in the movie with the guy that robbed all our childhood. And wrapping up real quickly, overall I gotta say Hasbro did a decent job with this Han Solo figure. There were some things that they got really right on this figure. I love the paint applications for the most part. I love the attention to detail with all the rivets painted, you know, and all the wrinkles sculpted in, and the washes and various dry brushings and everything. It actually got a lot of detail for what it was, and I think the face sculpt is just dead on Harrison Ford. So tremendous job to Hasbro for that. It did miss the mark in a few nitpicky items for me, and honestly, I just wasn't a huge fan of the way the character looked in the movie, but you can definitely get this guy into some great poses, and I'm glad to have him in my collection. Overall, I have to rate the figure a buy, even with all that said, for nothing else other than the fact that we may not get another 6-inch scale version of Han from The Force Awakens. It's worth grabbing this guy if you can find him. He's right now, I think, at a fair price on Amazon, and he's hitting in waves at Walmart as well. And hopefully we'll see him in Toys R Us and Target soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If so, please give me a big thumbs up. Facebook, Twitter, Toy Ark, links in the description below as always. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you soon.